Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our meeting of Monday, October 18th. So probably the most important Rotary business for today is to make sure everyone is aware that Sunday, October 24th, so that's 1 week from yesterday, is World Polio Day. And when Rotary and its partners launched the Global Polio Eradication Initiative back in 1988, there was 350,000 cases of polio a year across 125 countries. Since 1988, we've made great progress against polio, and Rotary members have contributed more than $2.2 billion and countless volunteer hours to protect nearly 3 billion children in 122 countries from this paralyzing disease. Rotary's advocacy efforts have played a role in decisions by governments to contribute more than $10 billion to the effort. Hopefully in the near future, polio will become the second human disease to be eradicated. In that little bit over 30 years, polio cases have been reduced by 99.9%, and just 2 countries continue to report cases of wild polio virus, Afghanistan and Pakistan. And in both of those countries, the last cases were in January of this year. So that's really good news. If you look back in 2020, Afghanistan had 56 cases, Pakistan had 84 cases. For 2021, we are down to 1 case, and we are 3/4 of the way through the year, and 1 case in each country. In Afghanistan, it's looking really promising because even environmental monitoring of sewage systems shows no active wild polio cases in the sewage systems, whereas in Pakistan, there are still some concerns as the monitoring and the environmental monitoring of sewage systems shows that there are still wild cases out there. They're just not showing up from a formal health medical perspective. So that's really good news on the Polio Eradication Initiative and World Polio Day. And for those of you that want to learn more, there will be a special streaming broadcast for World Polio Day Live, and it's going to happen on October 21st. I believe that's Thursday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And Dr. Bob Scott, who's the past Vice President of Rotary International and past chair of the Rotary International Polio Plus Committee, will be updating the audience of this streaming broadcast about Rotary's efforts to eradicate polio. He'll be talking live with Shekhar Mehta, our current president of Rotary International, Valerie Wafer, the current vice president of Rotary International and a director, Mike McGovern, the current chair of the International Polio Plus Committee, and with Dr. Tunji Funsho, who is the chair of Rotary's Nigeria National Polio Plus Committee. And they'll talk about what is happening with respect to polio eradication efforts and the progress that we are making globally. So if you want to learn more about polio eradication and about World Polio Day, that would be a great live stream to tune into. If you are not able to watch that on Thursday night, there will also be a link to a different video from Rotary International that you can watch at any time that will provide you with a great update about our polio eradication efforts.
Don, I just spoke to George. He'll be joining in a second. He just got back from vacation and forgot it was in his calendar, so he'll be joining us momentarily.
Wonderful, thank you. So the other part that I want to make sure everyone understands is for World Polio Day and our polio eradication efforts through endpolio.org, any donation we as Rotarians make, if you make it through the Rotary Foundation, which you can do using rotary.org or the endpolio/give, any donation you make there will be matched 2-for-1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So if you make a contribution of $100, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will match it with $200. So it's a great opportunity to get more bang for the buck from your charitable giving. You just have to log into rotary.org or go to the endpolio/give website and log in with your Rotary ID there and make the donation, you will receive a tax receipt, and it will be matched by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation 2-for-1. So we will now introduce our guest speaker for today, who is George De Vlugt from Habitat for Humanity Heartland Ontario. And George has led the construction department at Habitat Heartland for over 8 years and is currently the general manager of construction. George oversees all the construction projects, build team, and build related gifts in kind for the regions that Habitat Heartland operates in. Habitat Heartland, established in 1993, now services the counties of Brant, Elgin, Middlesex, Norfolk, Oxford, and Perth. Habitat Heartland welcomes partners without discrimination to help lower income families build strength, stability, and self-reliance through affordable home ownership. So good morning, George, and welcome to our Rotary meeting.
Oh, thanks, Don, and good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I've been at Habitat for about 8 years. I absolutely love what I do. I actually started in the construction industry, getting out of high school, and got my carpenter's apprenticeship. Then I was actually a pastor for about 15 years. And one thing led to another, and I wanted to get back into home building. And Habitat has quite a pastoral side to it, in that we're helping people better their lives. And so it was a great fit for me, and I feel very fortunate to be in this position with Habitat. We've built quite a few homes in the last 8 years in the London, St. Thomas, Stratford area. And recently we amalgamated with our Brantford Habitat. And we have quite a few projects on the go right now. We've gone from single family homes to multi-residential buildings for a very normal reason. Is houses are costing more and more, building costs are going up. So if we can build higher density buildings, we can continue to serve more families. And that's what our goal is here, to help those who never will be able to own their own home, to be able to get into the housing market. Instead of paying a landlord their rent, they can own their own home and pay themselves back, which is just a very exciting opportunity for so many people that have dreamed of home ownership, but will never have the chance unless they receive the help they receive from Habitat for Humanity. So I wanted to just share the project that we're working on near Highbury and Fanshawe. It's just south of Fanshawe Park, or just south of Killarney. And actually, if I just go to Google Maps here, I can show you the exact location of the project on Highbury. And could someone remind me how much time I actually have to show this to you? Malcolm,
About 25 minutes, George.
Oh, about 25 minutes. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Okay. Then I'm stopping at roughly 12:30. Okay. I don't think I'll take that long, but if I just go to Google Maps here. And that's what the project looks like right now. There's actually a house you can see just beyond the gate here, right? And this way north, this is Killarney here, and up at the top of the hill is Highbury. So it's in a really great setting. If I look south here on Highbury, there's the bridge to the Thames River, and there's a beautiful walking trail, as probably many of you know, that goes along the south side of the Thames River. And of course, this is a great location for our families who often use public transportation. Bus stop, I think, is right here. And it's easy access to grocery shopping, bank, all the amenities they would need, as well as the public transportation to help them get to work in the morning. All our families do hold jobs. They have to have a minimum income, I believe, of $37,000 and a maximum combined household income somewhere around the $65,000 mark. And that would include everybody's income in the home, not just the parent or parents. So that's where we're building. So then I'll switch back to the 3D model of the townhouses that we're building. So this would be Highbury Street right here. If you can see where my cursor is, kind of looks like interlocking pavement there, but that's actually Highbury Avenue and the sidewalk. So you come in the entrance of the building here, and there's we've had to switch. The City of London asked us to switch this 2-story building that sits on the east side of the property with the 3-story building that sits on the west. We have not updated the drawings yet, but you still get a good picture of what the buildings look like. So then here's another view. Again, this is Highbury. This 3-story building will be brought forward here. This 2-story building's brought to the back. And it'll give us 20 units in this area. 20 units with plenty of parking. You'll see some picnic tables here. There's another shot that'll show those picnic tables a little bit better. So there's some green area here, as well as if you continue to go south, here you'll see there's the river right there. So there's some green space there as well. There's another view of the parking lot and the townhouses. Each one will have a balcony, which we felt was very important for people just to be able to get outside and to be able to enjoy the weather and maybe have lunch outside in the summertime and just have a place to breathe some fresh air. All of the ground floor units will be handicap accessible. They will be built to the standard of what's called universal design, so that if somebody's handicapped that will move in there, it will be very easy to convert it to handicapped living. There'll be level walk-ups, so there's no stairs, no wheelchair ramps. They'll be able to wheel right in. All the door openings in those units will be wide enough for a wheelchair to get through. And the bathroom will have a big enough turn radius so a wheelchair can get into the bathroom and be as easy it is for someone who's has mobility issues to be able to live in those units. And we're quite happy to be offering those. They are 3-story walk-ups, so there's no elevators. There are stairs. So the people living in the 2nd and 3rd floors will be walking upstairs. And we've even talked recently that we're going to get at least 1 or 2 electric car charging stations ready. They won't be installed, but they'll be ready so that by the time that needs to be available, it'll be easy for an electrician to hook up an electric car charging station there. So you see, we'll have a spot for bicycles to be secured here. The garbage bins are going to be Molochs, which are sort of semi in the ground. It doesn't really show it on these pictures here, but they'll be there. And then here you see our picnic tables a little bit more in this area. The buildings will be brick and hardy board siding, so that if there's children kicking around balls and so on, it's not going to damage the building. It'll be well kept that way. So does anybody have any questions so far? If you do, I'd be glad to answer them. I'm also going to show you the interior floor plans.
Hey, George, can you point out what will be the one that the Rotary clubs are sponsoring?
So I don't know which unit it is right now.
All right.
I'm not sure which one those are. Sharon Brennan would probably know that. So again, the buildings are reversed. This 8-unit building, 2 stories high, will be in this place. And that's the building we're building first. And then this building, this 3-story building, will be over on this side here. We'll be building that second. So it'll be in 2 phases. The 8-unit building first, and the 12-unit building second.
And a question for you, George. All these units will be Habitat for Humanity units, correct?
Yes, they will be.
Will the recipients, the people that will be receiving these units, will they, what is the ownership model? Is it like a condominium?
So it is a condominium. They will be paying a condominium fee.
Okay.
Basically, I don't know all the legal items in the condominium agreement, but basically it's anything behind the drywall is the condominium corp. Anything in front of the drywall on the inside is the responsibility of the homeowners. And we have an affordable mortgage model where the homeowners receive as much of a mortgage as they can from the bank. Say they can afford $100,000 mortgage, they will get that mortgage from the bank. The second mortgage will be held by Habitat for Humanity, and that mortgage is interest free from Habitat. What that does is when we get that $100,000 from the bank, that allows us to use that money right away to invest in more projects and help pay this project. So we've recently had to switch that from the strictly interest-free mortgage model that we had, because to build high density and to build, this is roughly a $7 million project, we've needed that extra cash to be able to support this financially.
What will the approximate mortgage payments be for someone?
So that depends on their income, but it's 25%, 30% goes to mortgage and taxes.
Okay.
Right, so that's just basically the standard that the banks would use for the everyday mortgage holder, right? Shouldn't be exceeding 30%. And there is a minimum payment as well, which I think is $500, but don't quote me on that one. Again, all our families are working, they have jobs, and they have a decent credit rating. Their application is gone through just as much as any bank would go through anybody's mortgage application. Okay, I'll switch to the architectural package. No, that's not the right one. It's this one here. This one actually has the building set property here. If I just go through to well, here you see an overall site plan of the property. So they come in off Highbury Avenue, go down, there's a slight hill there going down, and then they turn left and go to parking. And there'll be some parking here, and the garbage containers will be here. The picnic tables that I showed you are in this area. Then there's a naturalized zone, which basically the grass grows as it wants to. Any shrubbery that's there will grow as it wants to. That enables all the natural insects, creatures, birds that live in that area to continue to have their habitat. And then there's quite a steep slope from here down to the river's edge. You can see that from the bridge if you walk past. So I'll just go to the main floor units here. Can everybody, I think I'll blow the picture up a little bit so you can see one unit. All the units are basically the same, just reversed one from another.
And if you press Control L, it will take over the whole screen.
Okay. There's something new. That better than it was?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so basically the handicap unit, you'd come in this door here, level entrance. You'd have a living, dining room, kitchen area here, right, with a standard kitchen. You'll have a front closet here for coats and so on. This is the utility room here where they'll have a stackable washer and dryer. They'll have a tankless hot water heater. And we are going to heat the units with heat pumps rather than a gas furnace. When you look at the costs of a heat pump over an entire year, it actually is a wash in terms of utility costs compared to using a gas furnace and an electric condensing unit for air conditioning. That also allows us to build the building with 25% less greenhouse gas emissions than the current building code. And the building is being built to 25% better insulation, better energy savings. So it's great to be building a building that's 25% better than the current building code. Then we have 2 bedrooms. They're roughly the same, a master and another bedroom, each bedroom with a closet. So they're simple units, but they're very efficient units, right? The bathroom will have a tub shower unit. If a handicapped person is living there at the time the house is, the apartment is being built, we will put handicap shower bathing tubs in there so that they can have easy access. And then there's a tiny linen closet here. And your typical bath, vanity, and toilet. So simple units, but that's what Habitat's all about, is simple, decent, and affordable. It's to help those families get started into the housing market, which really gives them financial stability. We see our families just do better because they have housing stability, which we know is crucial in today's housing market. And then we find that the children in these homes have a much better chance of going on to post-secondary education because they have that housing stability, because parents are more financially set up. They're not living day to day. They're more planning their futures. And within that comes that element of post-secondary education, which is vital to the strength and stability of our families. The second floor units are just about the same, except that they don't have the handicap access in the bathrooms and so on. So we get a little bigger bedrooms, and just depending how the stairwell works, they might have a little bit bigger living dining room area. And then of course, the second floor has the balconies here that they can access, which I think is just critical to healthy living. And then that's the third floor.
George,
So go ahead.
I do have a question. How are you constructing this for maximum noise attenuation?
So there was a noise study done by the civil engineers, and there is, we are below the decibel level that needs to be, the acoustics in the building need to be constructed. I don't know if I'm using the terms exactly right, but with the double pane windows and the 1-inch styrofoam cladding, the 7/16" OSB board and insulation, that will be enough to dampen the noise from Highbury Avenue.
And what about between occupants?
Oh, between occupants.
Your neighbors.
Yes, between that. So there is a building code standard for that, which is drywall on both sides of the interior wall. Not the interior wall, the space between the 2 walls. So there's actually 4 layers of drywall between the walls. And believe it or not, they've done studies if you put Tyvek paper on those walls, that will help dampen the noise as well. So we are doing that. What that also does when we put Tyvek paper on the walls is that it doesn't allow the smells of cooking to transfer from one unit to the other. So if somebody's baking with curry and next door they're baking with sausage, you don't get a scent that is unpleasant.
And then what about the floors?
Again, those are all acoustically designed by the engineer. So it's probably 2 layers of drywall on the ceilings, and then they'll test every single screw to see that it's meeting the certain acoustical rating in each unit.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
What size are these units?
They're roughly 850 to 950 square feet.
So what's the homeowner association fees for these people?
That I don't know yet. That's not been determined at this point. That is being worked on right now.
But they'll work it as a condominium corporation amongst themselves?
Yes, they will. We'll set up the condominium corporation. And then again, I don't know how that works exactly, but they will eventually take that over. We will give them lots of guidance to get started. And other habitats across the country have done this ahead of us. So we've got some precedent being set for us to be able to manage that condo corporation properly. I believe Yvonne has a question.
I was just wondering, what is the eligibility and requirements when someone wants to be able to apply for having a place to call home in one of these buildings?
Right. So the basics are that they are in stable employment, just like a bank would require, that they have a minimum of $37,000 worth of income, and that they demonstrate some sort of need to qualify for a Habitat home.
Okay, what about if someone's on ODSP? Will that be sufficient for someone to take ownership of a place to live?
So that question I can't answer. I can find out from our family services coordinator to find out if someone on ODSP is eligible.
Because there's a long waiting list right now for housing, and many people have a learning impairment or mental health and are on ODSP.
Yes.
And that because I know, because I've been an advocate for over 13 years, and many people in London here are on ODSP.
Yes, and I have a brother who's developmentally disabled on ODSP, and they haven't had a significant raise in years.
No, they haven't. I'm on the coalition for ODSP, and also I'm a person on ODSP.
Right. So let me get back to you on that, because I know there has to be some sort of minimum income.
Mhm.
Does it change with ODSP? I'm not sure, Yvonne, but I can find that out
Some
for
people
you.
can work and some people can't,
Right.
based on their disability. So if they're
Right.
say like someone has cerebral palsy, they may or may not be able to work in the community,
Right.
but may be able to do volunteer work.
Right. So I'm sure it's a case-by-case basis, but again, I can't speak to that because I'm the construction guy. I know some things about other departments, but can't answer that specifically.
George, what happens in the case of a resale that an initial buyer wants to move on? Do you control who might be the potential replacement owner of that property?
So we would have, what do they call it? The right of first refusal. And there's an equity share that goes with that, because if properties, go up significantly in value quite quickly, as we've seen happen in the market, we don't want it to be a windfall for families. We want to be able to serve more families. So some of that equity share comes back to Habitat. They just can't move in and resell it. Again, I don't know the full terms. I think it's 5 years. But again, I'm not the mortgage person, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question, but I can find out. We've had it where homeowners have sold their homes and we've gotten the house back and then just sold it to another Habitat family, which works out quite well, because for some of our families, the program only works for a certain amount of time. There could be a family breakup or something that happens where they don't really fit into the Habitat program anymore. They sell the house back to us, and then we serve another family with that very home. Okay, does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Regards to the learning curve for yourself and for volunteers moving from single family residential construction to multi-unit residential construction. I'm sure that has not been easy for you.
Well, we have learned quite a bit when we built our Forbes Street subdivision, where we built 17 homes. We've gotten quite good at managing teams of volunteers. The challenge on larger density projects will be completing construction on time, because there will be a construction loan on this. You know, if you delay closing for a month, that could cost us $60,000, let's say. So it's really important that we meet our timelines. But at the same time, having done this enough, we know where our volunteers can work and they can't work. So for instance, we could teach them to do siding. That's worked out quite well. They can build bulkheads that need to be there for furnace ducts. Cleanup on a construction site is extremely important when it comes to injury prevention and staying organized. They'll help a lot with that. You know, so we managed to be able to find work for everybody and meaningful work, while staying within all the same Ministry of Labor guidelines that are there for every other constructor in Ontario. We have to follow those as well. So we do a very good job of being able to manage those volunteers, and are confident we can do that on this project. Yvonne, I think you had another question.
Yes, I was just curious to know, when is this supposed to start construction, and when, like, how many people are allowed to be in these, like, each of the, like, how many people are like going to be allowed to be in these housing places? Because
So
here in London, we've got a lot of people in shelters that may or may not have a job. So I'm just curious.
Right. So we fit into that affordable home ownership model. We're sort of the next step from affordable rentals. We're affordable home ownership. So that puts us in a different category. There will be people that will always need those affordable rentals where they have discounted rent based on their income. Then there's Habitat that provides housing ownership, the housing ownership model, where they will need a minimum amount of income to be able to step into that program. So we're that transition between affordable rentals and the typical home ownership model that I am in. Then as far as when construction's starting, we hope, and I always put hope in quotes, to be starting in April, May of next year. If any of you have been involved in construction, you know the amount of planning that's involved, and how you know, you can submit a site plan to the city, and then they come back, they want this change, then you make those changes and they come back with more. So it is, we've been at it for about 2 years. We're pretty confident we'll be starting this spring if all goes well.
When are you hoping to be finished this project?
So the first phase will be done 9 months to 12 months later. And then the second phase will start after that and finish another 12 months later. So we hope to be in 2 years or less from next spring. So that's spring of 22, spring of 2024, we should have everything completed, if not before then.
George, why did the city ask you to move the 3-story to the front section from the back?
Balconies looking down at neighbors. They would rather have those looking down at the road. There's that privacy feeling that the neighbors behind they thought was important. I thought it looked better the other way, but they felt different.
Yeah.
And then they're asking us to also change that front facing side of the building to look more like a front entrance. We've pushed back on that because all the base, the bottom floor units are handicapped. So if we put a front entrance around the back of the building, that's a much longer sidewalk for them to have to walk around or be in a wheelchair. So we won that argument, but they still want to change the facade of the building to look more interesting. And that's underway right now.
George, given that phase 2 is at least 2 years out, and we're in an economic environment where there is a very real prospect that interest rates are going to go up, what's the contingency plan? Because that changes the cost dynamics of everything and the affordability dynamics of everything for the eventual homeowners and for Habitat for Humanity to recover its money as well.
Right. So phase 2 will be starting a year from spring of 22. So we will be done in the spring of 2024. So the fortunate thing is that the families will still have the same mortgage model. They'll qualify for as much as they can from the bank, say it's $100,000. And then the second mortgage is held by Habitat. So if their income, say, doesn't change, but the unit goes up $50,000 in price, they can still manage the payments because it's based on their income.
Okay.
Not on the value of the mortgage.
But what about for Habitat for Humanity's budget?
Right. So that's structured into our budget already, that there's a contingency for increased construction costs. So that's all put in there, and with the bank is figuring all that in, so that if construction costs do go up, which we've seen them go up dramatically in the last year and a half, we'll be sure to be paying all those bills. And we are tendering all the contracts with our electricians, plumbers, HVAC people, so we know what the costs will be up front.
How many properties are you building? Because I only see 4 on the screen. How many are you planning on building?
So there'll be 20 units there.
Okay.
This is just an example of the one floor. Right?
Where's this going to be built, may I ask?
So it'll be just south of Fanshawe on Highbury, right near the intersection of Killarney and Highbury, between Killarney and the river, on the north side of the river.
We reached the end of our time, unfortunately, but thank you very much, George, for your presentation today. In recognition of your presentation to our club, a contribution has been made to the Polio Plus campaign of the Rotary Foundation to immunize 50 infants against polio. Because of you, Rotary is one step closer to a polio-free world. And I don't know if you saw the first part of our meeting when we were talking about World Polio Day, but this is kind of an important thing for us in Rotary. So we would like to recognize you with a contribution to the Polio Plus campaign.
That's completely awesome. I know that the Rotary is trying to eradicate polio around the world, and this is just awesome. Thank you.
No, and thank you for the work that you do in Habitat for Humanity, and looking forward to actually working with you sometime in the spring, or hopefully early summer when the weather's nice.
Right on. Okay, Don, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now, what we tell all of our speakers is you are free to stay around for the rest of the meeting, but if you have other work that you have to get to, especially if you just got back from vacation, feel free to get back to your day job, and we will talk to you later.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. So just a reminder about World Polio Day. If you weren't paying attention at the beginning of the meeting, it is next Sunday, and there will be an email out probably this evening with a lot more information about various activities related to World Polio Day. Now, the one thing that we've done as a club with respect to World Polio Day is our tulip sales. So I will pass this over to Lori.
Thanks very much, everybody. And I apologize. Someone's doing some house construction next door, it sounds like, because all of a sudden there's a bit of distraction going on. I am happy to say that the tulips are in London. They arrived late yesterday, so they are in the community. So we will be getting those out and have a pickup day, hopefully this coming week. I am in a bit of a need though, so I'm hoping somebody perhaps even on this call could help us out. We have about 100 of these small boxes to pick up and move from their current location to Sandy Ronson's house, and then our club members will be picking up from Sandy's house directly. The boxes are small, but I do think we probably need a pickup truck to move them, or someone with a very large unit. And I see Heather's already said you could do the pickup, so maybe we've already got a truck arranged. We're literally moving them from Wonderland and Commissioners just down the street a little bit off Commissioners to Sandy's house, and hoping to do that on Thursday. And then those individuals who are picking up multiple units of tulips will have some pickup on Friday afternoon, and then for others we'll arrange for Saturday morning pickup. So we'll be reaching out to everyone to set up a day, and hopefully those 2 days work for everyone. So Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. And if one or the other is better for you, perhaps you could reach out to either Sandy or I directly and let us know that you can't pick up on one day and you could pick up on another. So stay tuned. We will have some more information out to you in the next day or so, and everybody can get planting next weekend. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you. And the next item, Past President Diane.
Hello, everyone. So great to see you all today. I'm very pleased to announce that it's the time of year that we are now taking nominations for the Honorable Ray Lawson Rotarian of the Year Award. The purpose of this award is to recognize a member of the Rotary Club of London who has been has been highly involved in club activities and may have also been active in Rotary District 6330 activities. So this is a person that during the Rotary year 2020 to 2021 has been involved in these activities. So each member of our club is invited to make nominations for this prestigious award. The award is open to all members, as I said, of our club, or members who were involved in our club in 2020 to 2021, except for any board member who sat on the board of directors last year, or any previous current member recipients. And all the names of the board members and past winners are on our website. If you click on the link for this award, you will see the list of names. So again, you can find the nomination form on the website. If you download the form and forward the nomination form to me by email, dtwinestra@goodlifefitness.com, with your choice for this prestigious award and for the reasons for your choice. And I will be presenting my recommendation to the board of directors for the winner on November 17th at our board meeting. So thank you.
Well, thank you. A few other announcements that we have. Tomorrow afternoon, the Satellite Club will be doing their park cleanup at the Lauren Avenue Park, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. So if you are not attending cocktail hour, you have the opportunity to clean up in the park. We strongly recommend against combining cocktail hour and park cleanup. It just doesn't go over well with the city when we do things like that. The other Satellite Club activity coming up just before Halloween is Spooky Trivia Night, Wednesday, October 27th. Registration link is on our website. The other announcement I did want to, or a couple of announcements, Jim Swan, how are we for the Salvation Army kettles?
We have 7 shifts left. There's one shift on December 10. There are 2 shifts on December 13th, 1 shift on Wednesday, December 15th, and we have 3 shifts open on the last day, Thursday, December 16th. So we'll post that again to everyone. There are a number of people who took part in previous years who are just simply unable to do it this year. So if you can step forward for a shift, we'd really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And the
Sorry,
district
Don, can I ask Jim a question quickly? It's
Yep.
John Diakos. Jim, are we allowed to take our grandkids with us this year? I got a call into Jody, but she hasn't. I haven't been able to connect with her.
Well, you're probably better able to get that information than I am.
Okay, I didn't know if they
from
said something.
Jody.
Okay.
In previous years, it hasn't been a problem, but I suspect because of COVID that there probably are restrictions in terms of space and so on. Last year we were set up. So there was a screen in front of us and we were in the lobby. So it can be pretty cool and a long stand, but we only were able to complete, I think, 2 to 3 shifts, or at least one full day before the kettles were shut down completely last year. So yeah, check with Jody and let me know. We do know that you must be vaccinated. That's one requirement.
Thank you.
And a reminder that this month's District 6330 noon Zoom will be tomorrow at noon, and it will be Dr. Todd Bowtie Jenkins talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if those of you that have not seen Todd Bowtie Jenkins before, he does a lot of work in the youth exchange world. He's famous for the bow ties that he wears when he's speaking, and he's a really dynamic speaker. So if you have not had the opportunity to attend one of his presentations in the past, highly recommend that you join the District 6330 noon Zoom tomorrow. Are there any other announcements for the club?
I have
Diane.
one, too. Actually, I just have 2 shout outs. I want to thank the members of the club who signed up for this coming Wednesday, 6:30 to 8 shift at the London Food Bank. So we got our 10 people very quickly, and also lots of participation from the Satellite Club. So I just want to thank everyone for your eagerness to help out with that. And also I wanted to give a shout out to our weekly blood donor volunteers. There's somebody that goes every single Wednesday to the blood donor clinic from 3 to 5 from our club. And that's amazing. And so I want to thank Don Stevens, Sandy, Ian, Steve Knox, Rick, Jerry, Harry, and Jack for your generosity and giving to our community this way. Thank you.
That's Heather.
Thanks, Don. I just wanted to reach out and again, thank everybody for the support for the golf tournament. I'm not sure if it's come out through the board minutes yet, but we raised just over $11,000 this year. And that in part is to many of you who played and participated in the games, and then also potentially did sponsorships or helped us bring some in. For next year, I would like next year to be my last year's chair. So this tournament will require a new chair. And I'm hoping for this coming year, we could find 1 or 2 more volunteers to take over a few roles like sponsorship. We already have John Diaktis on the auction. So if we could get a few more people in and kind of get you trained up, and then whoever takes over will have more of a team to work with. So you can reach out to me at any point in time with that. And we'll see whoever's heading up fundraising. I'll make them aware as well that for year 5, I'd like to see this pass on, or the club, will have to decide whether we continue to do it. But it's been well received overall, and I think we'll do the same sort of format again because it was a great deal of fun and a lot more relaxed. So again, thank you to all of you who contributed in many ways to this.
Thank you, Heather. So one last note, and it's about a second club survey. We did one earlier this year for the strategic planning. And as a result, we still need to do a second survey. It's going to have multiple questions on it. The first bunch of questions are going to be about our return to in-person meetings, when and how, and all the details around that. So there'll be a number of questions about that return to in-person. And then as well as filling in some of the information gaps we discovered after the first survey. We did miss some questions when we did that. So we do have some follow-up questions for everyone. So watch your email for that survey. And I think that is it for announcements. We will wrap up our meeting now with a reminder that our theme this year is Rotary, We Serve to Change Lives. As mentioned, cocktail hour is on Tuesday at 5 p.m. and Coffee Clutch Thursday at 10:30. No meeting for the Satellite Club tomorrow night. They will be doing their park cleanup at Lauren Avenue. Instead, our board meeting is Wednesday at 5 p.m. And our speaker for next week is Adam Benny talking about Islamophobia. And then the following week will be Franz Koch talking about nuclear power. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful week.